Hello, welcome to Somerset News Network. I'm Ian, and let's do some housekeeping. I put 2 videos up, and they were an hour and a half long. I try and do short videos, about 15-20 minutes. I don't think you could stand me for longer than that. I don't know what happened, but there was, after 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes, there was nothing. Absolutely nothing for another hour. I don't know what happened, but I've got the videos back. I've edited them, and I knocked the dead hour off of the end. So I apologise for that. Something I did not notice. I do things easy here. As you can see, I got a printed sign and a sign because I got my computer box there and it was just a black square. So one, you know who I am. Yeah, I know you can get computer things that you can put in the corners and thing across the line, but I'm not a computer expert. I do what I know how to do, and I haven't learned how to do that yet. I didn't grow up with computers like kids today. When I worked in the civil service, I worked in the civil service in the 90s, and I did 6 years, and there was 1,900 people in an office block, and the only people that had computers were the accountants, the grade 5s that were the bosses in the departments, and the secretaries. There was a secretary pool when I started, and they used electronic typewriters. Anyway, as the 6 years went on, more and more people were getting computers. They put a whole network in. There was wires going everywhere. And they had computer stations in the back on each floor of their own servers. And it was a whole network they set up over the 6 years. When I left, it was going to be a paperless office. But the problem is, because of civil service law, they have to keep paper records, and then they have to put it on computer. So when you did a job, and say you had a file to do, and you had a job to do on a file, I was an AO, and the AA would have the information, give it to me, I would do my part on the file, and then hand it to the EO, they'd check it, and then it would be put to bed. Information gone out, letters gone out, or whatever we had to do. Then we went computerized, and we had a computer screen and a keyboard. We had one printer between about 6 of us in the office, and we had a shared printer, and we also had a shared scanner as well, and we would scan the letter and put that in on the file. Now, to start with, we were using 5¼ inch computer discs, and I don't think that lasted very long. I think I was on the end of that. Then we went to 4¼ discs, floppy discs, and the information was on there, and you put it on a tag, and you keep it with the file. Then everything was on computer, and then before I left, they started bringing in memory sticks. So all the information you had was on a memory stick. But everything could be filed, everything was in hard drives and stored. But it meant you had to do the paperwork, because you had to keep the paper file, and then you also had to log it in on the computer. So the job that would take you an hour was now going to take you hour and a half, 2 hours to do. And I just thought that was madness. Why don't they just put it on the computer anyway? And just keep the correspondence set that it came in. And your minutes, which is a note that you put on, or letters you send out, that would all then go in the file automatically. But no, you had to do the paperwork and then the computer. Weird systems, but never mind, that was the civil service. So they sent me on courses. I went on an excess course for doing accounting. I went on a Microsoft Word course, which is totally out of date now. But it got me into computers and doing things. The first computers in the offices, the civil service was selling off. And I put in a bid of 50 quid. And I got a computer stack and a screen for 50 quid. And our computers were costing about £1,500 at that time. It was a good deal. I think Pentium 1 had just come in, so it was a 8065 or whatever they were. And two lads in the civil service who I used to have coffee with used to teach me about what to do on computers. Taught me a bit of DOS, taught me to defrag, clean the hard drive and defrag it and all sorts. Well, you don't have to do that. The computer does it automatically for you. I do use Disk Cleaner. It's a program that you can get and it's called Disk Cleaner. And I do use that occasionally when I remember to do it. But that cleans it up. If my computer starts running slow, then I run it. But it's been fine for the last week since I've done it. A little bit quicker than it was the week before. So, this video is about disinformation. Like I said, at night I watch YouTube videos and it's recommended and they come up. There's 2 or 3 channels that use AI generated speech. So they obviously type in something out and then they put a video up and then they talk over the top of it. And there's about 3 channels and they're talking about a snap general election. Labour's going down the pan, Labour's in civil war, Starmer's going to resign. That's the big one. I've heard 3 or 4 different videos that said Starmer's going to resign. Well, the disinformation is that Starmer has not resigned. He's still there. I don't like the guy. I think he's got as much personality as a slug. He's more interested in foreign travel and being a world leader, which he isn't, than he is from running the country. We've got all these boat people coming in. He's doing nothing to stop it. They just keep coming in. We got the farmers up in arms. We've now got people with iPhones up in arms because they've taken the security code off and people can hack into it. If the government can hack into it for security, I'm damn sure other people will be able to hack in. They've pissed off pensioners. We didn't get our winter fuel allowance this year. Every house owner is going to have to pay more council tax for less services. They're talking about doing a bin collection once a month here now. How's that any good? So every house owner is up in arms. Council tax is going up. And, your houses, trying to sell a house, the value is going up. But if you sell a house, you've still got to buy another one. That's just expensive. EV car drivers, they don't have to pay tax at the moment. But from April, there will be an EV road tax. £190, maybe 193 or something, I can't remember, but £190, say. But if you've got what's classed as a luxury car, a luxury EV, the price goes up. And your car now is done on your emissions. Or if it's a class as a luxury car, pickups that are used by countrymen, farmers, builders, they can throw stuff in the back. That's now classed as a luxury car. And the road tax, instead of being £400 or £500 a year, it's going to be £2,500 plus. They're up in arms. Everybody's up in arms. Students are up in arms about the student fees. A student now will come out of university or college with around about £50,000 in debt. You know, how is he ever going to get a mortgage with that hanging over his head? We've got people in the village here, and young couples have got together and bought a 3-bedroom house between them. And the idea is when they go on, that they will be promoted at work, and when they earn more money, one couple will buy the other couple out, or sell the couple's stake in the house to another young couple. And that's the only way they can afford houses. Some couples are relying on parents to help them out with the mortgage on another house. You know, it's not good here. Labour has not done anybody any favours. On here, I try and find out the best information I can. It's the truth as far as I know it at the time. If I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong and I will change it. But I'm just so worried about the amount of disinformation that's about. It's getting to a stage that you say, oh, I can't trust anything that's said on YouTube or Twitter. And don't talk to me about TikTok. You know, they're only little short videos. But some people just got some weird ideas. Let's stick to the truth. Let's stick to the best information we can. Now, we're all in the same boat here. Labour is screwing us all. Now, I think that the people don't trust the Tories. They had enough of the Tories. Tories were too left-wing. Labour got in by default because people didn't vote. They didn't vote Tory that they normally would. And Reform didn't have the number of candidates to make a difference. Now Reform is growing. Its membership's gone up from 100,000 to 200,000. They're going to make a difference. Labour has already cancelled 5 county elections in April. Oh no, sorry, May, not April, in May. First week in May, isn't it, the elections? You know, how can that be democratic? Starmer is acting as a dictator. He thinks he has the divine right of a king. He goes off the world, making all these deals, and then comes back and reports to Parliament, but there's no Act of Parliament, there's no resolution. Parliament doesn't get a vote on it. That's not how our democracy works. Starmer went to Ukraine and got a 100-year deal. He then went to America And he was a right creep with Trump. Oh, here's a letter from the king inviting you. Then when we came back, the disinformation started. Because Lisinski went there, he got thrown out of the White House. Trump then banned the aid and the arms to Ukraine. Starmer then said, oh, we'll have to step in. And he got the European leaders and other leaders into number 10, or Lancaster House, wasn't it, they met? And they didn't get an agreement. Hungary and a couple of other EU states vetoed the EU decision on it. Last week, the EU came out and said that it would back Trump's peace deal. We now know that France has sent more guns, bullets and arms to Ukraine. Britain has said it would as well, but I haven't seen any reports that we've sent them yet. Where does all this leave Starmer? The EU is backing the Trump deal. Trump has stopped the aid going to Ukraine. Where does that leave Starmer? Now, all this information is saying, oh, he's going to resign. There's going to be a snap general election. Well, all these things might be true, but it's not true yet. All these things might come to pass, as they say. But it hasn't happened yet. Starmer hasn't resigned. He's still there in number 10. And he hasn't called a general election. I think it will happen. The only question is, we don't know when. Is it going to be this year? Next year? Or is he going to try and fake out another 4 years? We just don't know. And we need the information before we can say it. I can say I would like the people to decide. I would like a general election in May. We can now see what Labour is like. This is not what we voted for. I didn't vote Labour, but people who did vote Labour. Labour didn't really say anything before the election. It was all how bad the Tories were. The Tories couldn't vote Tories because they lost trust in them. The Labour vote only went up by 1.7% through the whole country. So, Labour is in trouble because more and more people have had enough of them. They don't want anything to do with Labour. So Labour is now in the same position the Tories were, that the people don't trust them. And the only party that we can now trust is the Reform Party. But what are the Reform Party doing? Fighting amongst themselves. They've got to get their act together, so if there is a snap election called, we have a chance of fighting it and getting good people into Parliament. Anyway, Ian, that's my little rant over for this morning. And sorry about the videos that were an hour and a half long. I try not to make it as long as I need to, but never mind. It's all sorted out, and I've cut them down now. So that's the last two videos. About the Silver Fox, he's been arrested, the YouTuber, and DJ, a young 13-year-old kid suffering from cancer. Trump made him an honorary Secret Service agent. Videos are on my channel if you want to have a look at them. Anyway, bye bye.